I'm Old Head Ed.
And I'm Mr. Beleaf. And we like to welcome y'all to Barcodes. Barcodes is a podcast where we delve into the lyrics of your favorite MCs, verse by verse.
Each episode, we invite an artist onto the show,
Break down their own bars, and give the listeners a deeper understanding of the meaning and inspiration behind their music.
from underground up-and-comers to established industry veterans.
We cover it all. So join us as we explore the art of MCing and the stories behind the bars on Barcodes.
Yo, it's Barcodes.
Barcodes in the building.
Yes, sir. I am Old Head Ed.
Mr. Beleaf on this side.
And we're back at it. Welcome to Tuesday. If you guys are doing the right thing and commenting, subscribing. Well, let's subscribe first. Hit the notifications. Then comment if you're really messing with the episode. And if you do all that, then you're going to see this episode drop on Tuesday.
And even if you ain't fucking with the episode, comment and like it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Just a random act of comment.
Do it. Show love. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
What else you got to do?
Yeah.
Here at YouTube.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
What are you going to learn? How to change a carburetor in between? Like, what do you...
It's Tuesday, man.
It's Tuesday. Yeah. Barcodes, a podcast where we have an esteemed guest, an esteemed MC sit down and delve into the process of writing a specific verse. A verse of their choosing. They'll break down the lines, give us the intricacies and nuances that go into formulating a verse from their perspective. And then Beleaf and I, as Beleaf as an MC and myself as just an all around hip hop fan, we'll chime in with what are the things that we gravitate to in the lines, where we kind of like have that moment where like, oh shit, did he mean this? And we have him here to ask him all those questions. So this time around, we've got none other than Mr. Blackhand himself, Triple Z
In the building.
What up?
Davy Bones.
It's a pleasure. Nah, Davy Bones couldn't make it today.
No?
I had to put that motherfucker away, bro. He's been mad
damn.
annoying this morning.
Really?
Yeah. He's a handful.
Is he connecting with Stanley Ipkiss? Because Stanley Ipkiss never makes it around when No Emotion shows up.
Yeah?
Yeah,
A bit,
yeah.
probably. He told me he had to go check on some shit, Turks and Caicos, all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I just had to fill in. Plus, he's a little too much. We're trying to have a real conversation and not talk about like, titties and shit like that. So
He's bound to throw us all off track. When we're here with a purpose.
yeah.
We're here to get into these bars.
You wanted an actual conversation about why things were written, not like, a bunch of groserias, as they say in Spanish. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
let's let's keep it cordial, ladies and gentlemen.
Word.
So what did you bring for us today to unpack, man?
So today I brought the name of the track is Topanga. It was off my last album, Mecca. Recorded this album, wrote this album out when I was living in LA. So big shouts to Plain Jane Records. That's the fam over there. One third produced this track. Most of the tracks that we did were produced there on the spot. We did it in the studio. Me and him, chopped it up, wrote this track while he was producing it, while he was digging and doing all that stuff. And there's the reason why I picked this song is because it was kind of like the first chapter in a whole new awakening and like a new perspective of how to tackle my writing, bars, just my overall approach to a lot of things, and not even just music, just life in general. So yeah, I mean that's why I picked this song, honestly, and it's one that stands out to me. It was one of the first ones that we recorded, and the reason why I put it so high up, it's the first actual track on the album, was because it kind of like sets the stage for the rest of the tone.
For the project.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you kind of like stumbled into the question I was going to ask you. So like, do you remember when and where and what kind of mind frame you were in when you wrote this though? Like, do you remember exactly where?
Yeah. I was dealing with a lot because I was already over there for a while. So it was kind of grappling with being in a completely new environment, kind of shaking off dust that I accumulated over the years of just being here in Florida and just kind of bouncing around all over the place. Yeah. So it was kind of like finally finding a new home. Okay. And that's really where my head was when we did it. And really it was just kind of like 1-2. Like I got to the studio, he was working on this beat, and like right when I heard those drums, I'm like, this one. do something to this. And then he kept, pulling out other samples and adding stuff to it while I was writing the verse, and it kind of just coalesced.
Dope.
So just listening to the drum sample, it already kind of sets you on a course of like, this is where I'm gonna go with this, and then he's just putting everything else around it. Okay, so that's pretty interesting about the writing process, that some people want to hear more of a complete, or more of a, I'd say that might make 75-80% done work.
Yeah.
With just some minor touches later, but the moment you heard the drums, you're like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go with it.
That's like the killing blow for me, is like if the drums are on point, if I'm like nodding my head, like, and it has that bounce, I'm like, that's the one right there. Okay. You can put whatever else you want on it, but those drums
got to be right.
Yeah. Right.
Now, the name of the track is kind of it sticks out to me, because I recall an episode that we had prior with George Spitz. We talked about, he did a song about Mr. Feeney.
Yeah.
Right, and now we have a track named Topanga, which is like kind of correlates with the show Boy Meets World. So I wanted to ask you exactly what was the reasoning for calling this track Topanga.
To tell you the truth, I never found Topanga that fine. Like everybody was always like all on her nuts and shit, bro. Like no. So Topanga is actually, it's an area in Southern California. It's a canyon, right?
Gotcha.
So the reason why I picked that name, I do this thing where I'll like write songs and finish albums, and I'll name everything afterwards. It's like a name for me, that's like kind of like the last thing. I don't want to like box something in with a name immediately, because then it kind of like
narrows the writing,
narrows it down. Right?
Oh, okay.
So the reason why I picked the name Topanga for this was because we went to Topanga Canyon to film the video for this, and we dropped some acid, and that was it. You know what I mean?
You didn't see Topanga. You were at Topanga.
Okay. That's a good clarification, though.
Yeah, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because automatically, when they hear that name, they already automatically associate it with that.
Thanks
that
a lot,
character.
Disney.
Yeah. Now I was gonna say, our non-geographical aware, me not being geographically aware of like national parks and stuff. That's right away.
Yeah,
pop culture supersedes
for
like
sure.
stuff that's been here for years, but it's because that's what's introduced to us. So
I mean, and it's got a ring to it, Topanga, like it goes off the tongue easily, you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of catches the attention. But if you're over there, you should check it out, man. It's beautiful, honestly.
Excellent.
Definitely will.
Word.
So let's get into these bars, man. Let's go with the first four.
All right, so the first four is starting fresh, pen scripted a new page, shaking off the rage. I'm transforming like Johnny Blaze. Smoking a banner, OG rolling Havanas, stoning cabanas, acid trips all the way in Topanga.
Okay.
Okay, so right there, it correlates from what you said earlier, at least the last couple of lines on that one. But shaking off rage, says starting off fresh, pen scripted on a new page, shaking off the rage, and transforming like Johnny Blaze. So that's the character of Ghost Rider, right?
Yes.
Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
So if you could elaborate, like,
So a lot of my projects prior to Mecca, my writing stems from a lot of anger, a lot of negative emotion, right? So realizing like writing from that point, it bears a heavy burden on the spirit, on the soul. Like after a while, you're just like bogged down in your own shit. And really, I was sick of pulling things from that point. Okay. Because you can only do so much. You can only do so much with that.
Yeah.
So really with this, it's like starting fresh, pen scripted a new page, shaking off the rage, like literally like kind of like what it says, because I don't want to pull things from that negativity anymore. Because although you can always dabble in it, you could reflect on it, it's not somewhere, it's like, it's not a good foundation for things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So that's kind of like the direction that was already starting to take hold. And really, this was when I was just like realizing it. So it didn't even fully manifest yet at that point. Like, so this is just like first step. Step one, I'm gonna tell myself, I'm gonna put it down on paper that, hey, look, I'm done.
Gotcha.
This is the new version. This is I don't want to say awakened or like, but this is like the more the new version of myself, I guess.
True. And then and I like the fact that you use the the line "transform like Johnny Blaze," which is like Beleaf alluded to. It's the Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Where he gets, he's pretty much this head.
I mean, Ghost Rider, when he transforms like that, he has to delve into all of that, into all of that negativity, kind of, so to speak. So, and plus, I mean, I love using comic book references. Even in the following bar after that, he's like smoking a banner. You know what I mean? Like Bruce Banner.
Green, like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, bro. Like, so I don't know. I just always like to throw that stuff in there just because it's, something I like,
And on top of that, it's the fire, the flame also is symbolic or synonymous with
rage.
The rage and the rebirth, like a phoenix.
Yeah.
Where it's like the ashes
For
and
sure.
then what's left is, and which is, this is you're embarking on something new. So that's pretty dope. That's like, there's something that on the surface, somebody just listening to that wouldn't pick it up. I mean, you could, you can kind of get the comic book references and whatnot, but then.
But the nuance, the nuance in it, just like this with a lot of my other writing too, is kind of, you have to scratch a little bit deeper than what is actually said, and then it kind of delves farther than that, which is just a part of my writing style, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're here.
Yeah.
Barcodes, you know what I'm saying? So we could unpack it, and so we could give the audience a deeper understanding to each one of these verses.
Yeah, man.
All right,
and then you said earlier, acid stone and cabanas, acid chips and Topanga. So
yeah.
And then
then there's other just straight literal.
Yeah, where there's not much. You don't have to do much.
It was that. That was basically what it was.
We were tripping in Topanga.
Yeah. A stranger, a smiling face is a sign of danger, because people will lie, navigate as the bird flies. A simple melody, stones carved in a memory, grave plots holding secrets earlier than Hercules.
Okay.
So, as those bars go, the stranger, a smiling face is a sign of danger, just like all the old songs say. Whenever people come up to you with a smiling face, with the promise of this and that, you gotta like kind of
cautious skepticism.
Yeah, for sure.
Be a little hesitant.
For sure. For all the people, all the people that try to sell you back your dreams and all that stuff when you're just trying to create art and all that stuff, I'm like very wary of that shit, And like come to the point where it's like, how are you gonna try to take my dreams and sell them back to me at a fucking price? Like, suck my dick, bro. Like, I'm gonna do shit exactly how I want it to, how it feels in my soul, and like that's just it. Like that's as far as it needs to go.
True.
And the following line, obviously, because people will lie, but navigate as the bird flies. When sailors used to navigate the ocean, you're getting closer to land because you see birds flying
circling.
around.
Yeah.
So and birds, they have a natural sense of navigation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
A simple melody, stones carved in a memory.
A simple melody, stones carved in a memory. A simple melody is just the simplicity of the art of the songs that we have. Stones carved in a memory. There's a saying that I heard once that really stuck with me. That's graveyards hold the most secrets known to man. For all the things that people know and all the things that people discover throughout the period of time, and all of the things that go without getting recognition, without really being known to the mass populace, the graveyard holds all of them. So death is the only certainty in life. Really. So really it's our duty while we're here to at least leave whatever mark that we can. Because that's when it counts, And that's really true. With this music, like the reason why I do it, or what draws me to it so much, is once it gets to that point where I'm no longer on this plane, the pieces of art and the things that we leave behind, that's our mark that we left on the world. And really the coolest thing to me would be if in fucking 100 years, you know what I mean, when we're all fucking long gone, somebody finds like some shit that I made, and they're like, yo, this shit's fire, son. Like what the fuck? Like that's really why I do all of this. Yeah.
No, that's I think that's common for most people who have a creative form of expression. But you could only imagine is how we treated scripture or stories from in the past, where it wouldn't be on some old like, yo, we're just enjoying this music. It'd be like, what does he mean by this? Like, why is he? And it would be like delved into from a scientific perspective, or like a more professional. I can see why people are like, oh, well, back then they must have meant that you said if you're a stranger, must have been someone who wore smiling.
Or like a simple melody, it carved stones into memory. How? They'd be misinterpreting shit and
apply the scientific method to my fucking lyrics. Like, no,
and it's like, nah, come on,
it ain't that serious, bro. Like we was just, we was just having fun.
But yeah, I do know I've bumped into a lot of artists where that is the premise of it's like the foundation of their craft, where it's like in a sense they're trying to reach a sense of immortality through their music, because once they're gone, they're never truly gone. It's like you die. You know how they say that you die twice? You know, like you die, and then the second time you die is the last time somebody remembers you.
Yeah.
But if you have music and you have art all around, like, you know, for instance, like
forever.
Michelangelo or Raphael, you know, he never died the second time because everybody knows of him because of his artwork, or Leonardo da Vinci or whatnot.
And like Splinter, you know?
Max Splinter, he was, hey, I ain't gonna lie, I was really recently watching Ninja Turtles with my son. That's why I just love that shit. The Shredder.
Splinter's been 98 for like 98 years.
Yeah, for real.
Been around forever.
Babies, they're babies. I'll never forget that shit. That's my favorite part of Ninja Turtles, bro. That's the classic one from the 90s, though. I haven't seen many of the new ones, but I still watch
The original one, the Nickelodeon one.
Like I still got like the VHS, bro. Like that shit. It's holy. It's holy to me, bro.
Before The Secret of the Ooze.
So after that, we go into it's a certain steez. I'm parting C's with degrees in theology, camaraderie, lyrical con robbery. It's a policy. Am I fly? Obviously. So as MCs, you know, you eventually you gotta throw the bravado in there. You know what I mean? The cockiness, and really most of these 4 bars, it comes from that. But I do like it leading into it is parting C's with degrees in theology and camaraderie. So parting C's like Moses, that's where the degrees in theology comes from. Camaraderie, because at that point in time, I mean, Plain Jane, shouts to them, those are my fucking brethren. There's like fucking 20 motherfuckers in this group. So really, it's creating this art when you're around, you know, the inspiration and the motivation that you get from your peers is really like very pivotal in a lot of the things that you create, and you find yourself being so inspired by other people that it pushes you to be even better. So that's where that comes in.
Camaraderie. Okay. Of the lyrical con robbery.
Lyrical con robbery. I just like that play on words too. It just sounds like, when I write, I like to kind of match the drums sometimes. So it's lyrical con robbery. It's a policy. Am I fly? Obviously. Like, so that shit.
The fly, am I fly? Does that have any throwback to Navigated as the bird flies? I mean, that's where I would take it, where I was like, oh, that brings me back. Yeah. That kind of ties things in.
Like a tie back.
It's like cyclical, right? So it's like a callback, right? Like how comedians do that shit. Yeah. So you know, and I tend to do that a lot too. When you write, you kind of and then come back to another concept, and then you come back to that.
That might feed the next. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Nice touch.
Proper hypothesis, if you look at it logically. Methodical mathematics packed in a TAM package. Demand managed. Request for demands granted. Hypothesis, you know, am I fly? Obviously, you know what I mean. That's a proper hypothesis because it's correct. Yeah. If you look at it logically, if we're speaking in scientific terms, we're already going back to the scientific method right now. Methodical mathematics packed in a TAM package. As you can see, the man managed. Just because the man managed, right? I don't know. Again, this is just me matching the fucking drums because I love doing that shit. It's like watching a drum line, like like triplets and stuff. Request for demands granted, you know, holding people ransom. You know what I'm saying? I want a helicopter. And I want to be flown to Cozumel, Mexico.
Drop me off in
$50,000 cash. Drop me off in Topanga with 17 sheets of acid.
And it's granted because the requested demands is granted.
Yes, sir. They give me all that shit. All right. Moving forward. See, a lot of this, I like my lyrics to sound good with the music as well, even kind of like straying away from deeper concepts, just to give a little bit of a mix of really just flexing the pen at that point. Also because it's fun, you know. I love writing, and just like when things coalesce like that, plays on words and just how things sound. Like, to me, this shit is like porn. But, anyways, whatever.
Wait,
Fucking.
Wait, hold on.
Rewind that.
Hold on.
To me, this show is like porn. Like,
Yeah, we need a little
It's
more.
just like porn, bro.
That's the part we want to get into.
Be writing, got a pen in one hand and my fucking dick in the other. You know what I'm saying?
In other words, there's a sensation felt once you're accomplishing.
sure.
Okay, got you.
It's like a puzzle. You know what I mean? You put a puzzle together, you put an equation together, you put these things together, and when you finally get to that final point where it's like, oh damn, this shit sounds dope.
Yeah.
This shit sounds dope. Let me keep going. Let me see where this thought will take me, right? So that's really where I was going with that little segment of it.
Quick question. Now, I know
Yes,
you started writing this down once you heard the drum pattern. Is there ever a moment where the producer is listening to you kick it, and then that inspires them to maybe make certain adjustments to the production?
Yeah. I mean, I tend to be pretty rigid. Like once I start writing, and then if you want to make a change to it, like I'll have to like sit back and like re-look at this verse to see if it really fits in there right.
Well, I'm saying as far as them, like they, now they're listening to your pattern and the way that you're mimicking the drums at certain times. Then is there ever a moment where the producer goes, oh, I think this would sound good right here? Like just like something they might, show off their production skills a little bit, maybe add a sample or a melody that just accentuates the fact that you're already recreating the drum pattern.
Because I mean, ultimately at the end of the day as well, it is a collaborative effort.
Okay.
That's why I find it especially rewarding when you're working directly with a producer in the room at the same time, because both of you guys can just kind of spitball ideas, toss them back and forth, try things out. There's no stringent like time requirements or anything like that. Like we only paid for 2 hours in the studio, so we only have 2 hours to lay it down. Like there's none of that. It's literally just whatever you can do, because we have an unlimited amount of time and we're just here to make something great.
True. Don't. And you can't rush greatness.
No. Sure. No, you can't. From there, all natural and candid, transplanted like spinal damage from too much acid and bad Xannies. Your body couldn't stand it. It's spooky season, like backpacks, I'll catch you. Fill you full of ectoplasm, then ghost you like Casper.
Okay. Okay.
That just makes me laugh. That's probably, apart from whatever depth I'm trying to convey or anything like that, you always got to take a second to do some shit that's gonna make you laugh and really make it fun. And I was fucking sitting there and thought of that fucking line, and I was like, yo.
Did you ever stop and go, maybe I'm enjoying this a little too much?
No, never. If I'm enjoying it too much, that means I'm doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. It's spooky season. Like, backpacks, I'll catch you. Fill you full of ectoplasm and ghost you like Casper, bitch.
Yeah. Which is a reference to the Ghostbusters when they was out hunting.
Ghostbusters, Casper the friendly ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then the bars prior to that, is a test to my, how do I put this? How do I put this in a way to my love for experimentation with certain things and really,
got you,
and really, and really like the turns that it took where I really like that shit'll cause some damage. You know what I mean? Like too much acid, bad Xannies. That shit's bad for you, bro. Don't do drugs. Then, you end up kind of fucked up.
Barcode's PSA.
And then you start writing about ectoplasm and shit, and talking about fucking porn and like weird shit like that. Like it really stay in school.
I'm gonna put that.
The more you know. The more you know.
Hell yeah. It's like fucking reading Rainbow, bro.
Yeah.
We got a positive message, bitch.
That's it.
All right. And so following that is steadfast till I'm dead last. Ski mask for the task. Feel the blast. Your shadow was turned to ash. Pestea semicero. La zeta por cero. Deja el celo. Por eso muchos rappers salen culero. Right? So more of this is just steadfast until I'm dead last. Right? Staying at a steady pace. And chances are, I might end up dead fucking last, but it doesn't matter. You just keep that steady pace.
Still gonna finish the race.
It's still gonna finish, right?
Yeah.
So fuck it. Like it's not a fucking, it's not a fucking race. It's not a sprint. It's a motherfucking marathon, right? Like
shout out to Nipsey again.
Shout out to Nip, right? He's right behind me.
Yeah.
Right. So, feel the blast. Your shadow was turned to ash. That's alluding to the atomic bombs that were dropped in in Japan.
Okay.
During World War II. You know,
Okay.
you see that shit?
Yeah.
They still have the ash like shadows on the
Yeah,
wall.
they still have the shadows.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fucking
nuts.
crazy.
Literally vaporized.
Saw like a guy next to a ladder.
Yeah.
It was
Bro,
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
nuts.
that shit is nuts, you know. And in my mind, I would like to imagine doing that shit to somebody. Like you fucking like say some shit, and they're like fucking literally vaporized, bro.
Yep.
Like that's dope to me. Anyway,
The power of the word, yeah, man.
the power of the word, yo.
Yeah.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
And following that,
So you go right from turn to ash, peste a cenicero, which is an ashtray,
ashtray,
smelling
yeah.
like an ashtray.
la zeta por cero.
Yeah.
Z stands for zero.
Yeah.
Allude to, you know, steadfast till I'm dead last. Zero.
Okay.
Deja el celo, por eso muchos rappers salen culeros. Don't be, you know, stop with the jealousy. That's why most rappers end up, you know, like fuck boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got to flip it in Spanish every once in a while just for the
Word.
swag. Where does it go?
Young
Let's see.
Mellow.
Young Mellow. That's how I'm shooting the gift. Triple Z in the mix. Gripping a fucking hockey stick. The enforcer. Human torture. Storming on you like Paul Loss with a right cross. Be gone, Paul. So
Right.
I fuck with hockey.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a hockey reference.
Yeah.
I fuck with hockey.
That one I didn't get. I'm
Panthers.
glad you broke that down. 'Cause I was
I-
like,
The Panthers are my shit. You know, have been since they debuted back in the 90s. Back when they came out, Paul Loss was like their main tough guy, their main enforcer, fucking badass dude with a fucking you know motherfucker's badass when he's just got the mustache, right?
yeah.
So this dude would just be out there whooping ass, bro. You see fucking Paul Loss skate on the ice, somebody's getting their shit split, bro. Right? So that's just an allude to hockey.
Yeah.
You know, being an enforcer. You know what I'm saying?
Then you got Young Mellow, another sports reference.
Another
Carmelo
sports
Anthony.
reference. Fucking not as big in basketball, but still fuck with it. And plus, you know, you have to fucking show love to everybody on this shit. Moving on, you know, you just got to throw a couple of little references in there. Excuse me, let me
Yeah,
touch
no,
this real. Smiles turn to frowns, the tears of a clown, only holding the crown to stomp it in the ground. Like Johnny Rotten and Nanica, sex pistol in hand, shooting the clan and anybody fucking with fam. So the allude to smiles turning to frowns and the tears of a clown is to an old opera, right? Where, you know, the term the tears of a clown, like you make other people laugh, but on the inside, you know, you're kind of like broken.
Yeah.
Right. So I was feeling like that. For a while. And especially like with, you know, even with like in terms of like the earlier line about ectoplasm and stuff like that, like even like you can be feeling all of these things on the inside, but you know, it's always best to not let that, you know, be what defines you, you know, and to still be able to, you know, have a little bit of joy. Only holding the crown to stomp that shit in the ground, because I don't, as far as like accreditations go and, you know, like props and this whole idea where it's like I want to be on the top, like I want to be the fucking king of like this or whatever. I don't relate to that.
Okay.
I don't really feel any kind of like desire or kind of like just like this wanting to be this all powerful kingly fucking like
Figure.
figure. Like it's just all that shit really to me just seems kind of like bullshit. You know, I just kind of want to live, make music, do this stuff. And, you know, if I'm considered, you know, good or great, or if people think that I fucking suck or whatever the fuck, like, it doesn't matter to me, bro.
I think also, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I think also there is something to, if that becomes your sole focus is to obtain or reach that, and you put that on you, you do end up taking away from your happiness. It does turn into, to me, it could make you go from you're trying to cover up, like, you could sacrifice your happiness, because sometimes in order for you to get to these places, you just have to push certain things away. Maybe push away the things that make you the most happy if you're trying to reach. So I could see where, you know, and a lot of times people get there and they're like, all right, what do I do with it now? You know what I'm saying?
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even that brings upon this whole new wave of responsibility, mistrust. You feel like people are out to get you, they're out to take your position and all this stuff. And really, to me, I don't see any peace in that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what I strive for and what I feel like people in general tend to strive for is a sense of peace, a sense of tranquility within themselves.
True.
You know, that kind of like oneness. And that kind of desire for power and greatness is, in a way, is kind of like the opposite of that.
Yep.
So, like Johnny Rotten, an anarchist, Sex Pistol in hand, shooting the Klan and anybody fucking with fam. If you don't know who Johnny Rotten is the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, which was one of the, not the original punk bands, but they're popularized to be the people who started punk rock music back in the 70s. And they have that song, I am an antichrist, I am an anarchist. So that's where that reference comes from, because that's also a big part of who I am, where I pull influence from, because that's a big part of my life as well, you know, adjacent to hip hop. So I get a lot of my way of thinking, a lot of my inspiration comes from punk those bands. Artists as well, punk, metal, things like that.
Which is wild, because, I mean, not wild, but anybody who knows the history of hip-hop knows that the punk room, the places that played punk music were one of the early ones that also allowed hip-hop to come in and have a platform.
Of course. Yeah. The two subcultures, they go hand in hand, and they're more synonymous than they're not. They both started around the same time. You know, and they both kind of represented a voice for people who felt like they had none.
Yeah, or other people seen as undesirable.
Of course, of course. So both of these cultures, they're, you know, I see them as extremely similar, and they're both beautiful in their own right. And really, that kind of space, you know, whether it's punk, whether it's hip hop, it's really ultimately it's just about expression.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel? Express how you feel. If you want to do it with blast beats and 35-second songs, is just screaming and fucking, yeah, hey bro, that shit is fucking tight. You do it. But whatever your art is, you do it, and you do it to the fullest of your extent. You know, and don't hold anything back.
True.
Do you usually you said like you reference the punk rock thing, were you like, are you heavy into the punk rock culture as far as you know, like, you know, the ones I think of is like Nirvana and stuff like that, like, well, so they're grunge, they're more grunge. So I'm like not really into the whole thing, but like I'm just I'm thinking that when you put it into that context as far as punk rock, but like,
I mean,
I don't know,
not necessarily, because again, that's just kind of like one of these things where like Nirvana's not a punk band, man. You know what I mean? Like, but like, in a sense, yes. But like when I say like punk, you think of like in the like the Ramones, the Sex Pistols. You have Crass. You have Oxymoron. You have Black Flag, Minor Threat. Like, and then even that like has all of its own little sub genres. But really, when I was younger, I was.
All right,
like
that's
heavily.
Like
I used to play in bands. Like I used to play in bands. We went on tours. We did all that. Like, I mean, I still play bass. So that's still a heavy part of me. I mean, when I get sick of listening to fucking hip hop, like I'll go and I'll listen to some fucking punk band. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, so really, it's still there. It's still an influence of mine. It's part of who I am. And really, coming up in that scene and being around that kind of like mentality, it really shaped like who I am as an artist today, and how I approach everything, how I approach writing, recording, you know, concepts, how I dress, how I, you know, like all of that, like it all kind of like just
intertwined.
It's a combination of both. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all those names that you mentioned, I mean, it's all foreign to me, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, all right, like that's definitely its own little world, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, kudos to that shit, bro.
Yeah, so let me see. The last four, sign of a serpent that's tatted on the skin, for the venom I spit, strangulating these microphone grips. I'm just a spider, and you're caught in the web of lies. 600 eyes, everyone seeing through your disguise. So my Chinese zodiac sign is a serpent.
Okay.
So I like to allude to that every once in a while, just because I think that shit's fucking cool. I fucking like snakes. Snakes are dope. For the venom I spit, strangulating microphone grips, more snake references. Venom is a black metal band, by the way, just in case you want to check them out. They're fire, you know, a lot of devil shit. Fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Just a spider, and you're caught in a web of lies. So when you're an artist, you meet a lot of characters. meet a lot of interesting people, and some people tend to be a little, dishonest in the things that they say and the way that they kind of carry themselves. And I feel that after a while, you kind of learn to, you learn to spot that. And people spin these webs. People spin these webs of like lies to kind of hide who they are, and they feel like they need to portray themselves in a certain image in order to appeal to a certain demographic or like to a certain type of music. And I just feel like that's kind of fucking whack. So I never want to like put myself in a box, and I just kind of allude to that when I say that, nah, I'm just a spider and you're caught in a web of lies. 600 eyes, every one seeing through your disguise. Spiders have like fucking like 600 eyes inside of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of just a fucking cool way to look at it. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, dude.
No, but yeah, it's pretty deep, yo. Like where you're like, I mean, like you said, when you're in this culture or producing these music, these tracks and stuff like that, you get you do meet a lot of characters, and you meet a lot of like people that just have this web of lies around them.
You become a method rapper.
And not people who are like they're predatory. You know, they see and here's my like beef with a lot of this shit. It's like artists themselves have like they look at artists, at other people who are creating art, as like a market. Like, how can I sell some shit to these people? Like, so like it's like the new way of like, like back in like probably like the 20s and shit, if like somebody like wanted to be like an actor or an actress or whatever, like how these little producers used to like sleep with women and shit, like they'd be like, hey girl, I'm gonna make you a star, I'm gonna take you to Hollywood, you're gonna be on the big screen, your name up in lights, so it's that kind of predatory behavior that I fucking despise. And it's very prevalent. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times now, like you don't even know if it's a real fucking person, dog. Like everybody who fucking raps gets this message at least like 3 times a week, where it's like
promoted on,
hey, you're a great artist, let's work, and they send you a fucking email. It's like 15 fucking paragraphs long, where it's like, so I was checking out your page, and I think that you make a great addition to promote our new line of fucking men's ball deodorant. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit like that. Like,
just ask them. This is what I do. I just ask them, hey, where did you find my music? And then they have no answer for that shit. But it definitely is a predatorial environment, and I've spoken out a lot about it.
Vehemently about it.
You know what I'm saying? Where there's awesome, like a lot of nice vocab right there. No, but especially these kind of how I say like promoters and stuff like that. Like they're not all of them, but there's some out there that are just like very predatorial. It's like, don't sell me a dream, bro. Like, that's the one thing that I don't like. Don't sell me a dream and all that stuff like that. Be like, oh, you be on this if you're gonna be exposed. I hate that exposure talk, though. Like, fuck the exposure. We're on. There's internet now.
There's no analytics. There's no analytics that will prove that the exposure you told me I was gonna get was it actually
exactly.
happened. Like, there's no.
And especially
stats.
if I'm like, let's say if I'm opening up for one person, and then I got like 900 other opening acts. Like, there's no exposure there, in my opinion. Yeah. But whatever. Right. I digress.
Yo, Topanga, bro.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
Yo, it's been a pleasure. Honestly, this platform, I have to say, you guys are fucking awesome for what you do.
Well, thank
you.
To
give MCs and artists a chance to come up here and kind of explain where this inspiration comes from. It's fucking great, man. Honestly.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for making time to do this, man. Definitely. Is there anything people should keep in touch with, keep up with, where to find the music, what's coming next?
Here we go for the plug, right? No, so you can follow me on fucking IG. It's Davey Bones with 3 Z's at the end of it. All my music is on Spotify, Apple Music, Napster.
Yeah, for those that are still logging in.
Just look TRPL-Z. That's TRPL-Z. Check it out. Mecca's up there. The whole album is great. Really, it's one of my favorite pieces of work from start to finish. And very proud of it. Thanks for having me on.
Go.
Barcodes.
Hey.
started fresh, pen scripted a new page, shaking off the rage, transforming like Johnny Blaze, smoking a banner, OG rolling Havanas and stoning cabanas, and as it drips all the way into Topanga, the stranger, a smiling face is a sign of danger, cause people will lie, navigate as the bird flies, a simple melody, stones called in your memory, great plots holding secrets earlier than Hercules. It's a certain steez, I'm part of seeds with degrees in theology, camaraderie, lyrical robbery, it's a policy. Am I fly? Obviously, proper hypothesis if you look at it logically, methodical mathematics packed in a tan package, demand managed, request for demands granted, all natural and candid, transplanted like spinal damage from too much acid and bad Xannies, baby, your body can't stand it. Spooky season like backpacks, I'll catch you and fill you full of ectoplasm, then ghost you like Casper, steadfast till I'm dead last, ski mask for that task, feel the blast, your shadow is turned to ash, vete a ser mi cero, la zeta por cero, deja de celo, por eso muchos rappers salen culero, a young mellow, that's how I'm shooting the gifts, triple Z in the mix, just gripping a fucking hockey stick, it's the enforcer, human torture, storming on your ball, lost with a right cross, be gone Paul, smiles turn to frowns, the tears of a clown, only holding the crown to stop that bitch into the ground, Johnny Rotten, I'm a Nanic, sex pistol in hand, shooting the clan and everybody fucking with fam, sign of a serpent is tatted on the skin, venom I spit, strangulating these microphone grips, I'm just a spider and you're caught in the web of lies, 600 eyes, everyone seeing through your disguise.